Hello and welcome to this session of Godbound. We are playing a second quarterly arc of this OSR game that comes from Kevin Crawford. It's a delightful game. He has done a couple of fantasy games, and this is certainly my favorite of them. By the way, if you're watching this, you're like, I'm curious about Godbound. Kevin Crawford has a free imageless version of Godbound, the rules, available on DriveThruRPG. So it's worth checking out if this at all sounds interesting to you, because I think it's pretty dynamite. So we're taking up with our characters. You have a chance to catch your breath and a chance to rest. And since you're outside of combat, if you rest for a little while, all of your hit points come back.
No problem. I had lost none.
Yeah.
Well, ha ha ha.
Yeah, I'll need a ranged attack. So that's
Yes, I took quite the beating and
You
got healed and took quite the beating.
Yeah. So what we're taking up is in the aftermath of this fight with the storm giants. And the ship itself is, I believe, kind of cracking and sinking, not kind of going under. And the undead giant that was there that you kind of knocked back, not perhaps deliberately or maybe deliberately, Professor, you will see them, they kind of right themselves up, and then they move their arms and they push to move away. And they clearly are moving to put some distance between you and them. So Captain Ransom, what does it look like? What are you doing here in the aftermath of this?
We still need to rush through here and see if we could find any captives, don't we? So yes, so my very first thing to do will be rushing around inside of this mass, trying to see if I can rescue people.
I think it will become clear quite quickly that those undead that they had attached to the underneath of their vessel, that those were captives. When you get into the hold and things, the hold is not filled with people. The hold is not filled with anything but stripped materials, metal, wood. They've clearly gathered up those things from broken up ships.
Oh, raw material.
Right. But a lot of finished and worked metal. So there's some treasure there, but it's mostly raw materials.
I won't be able to help myself but steal a little something.
Oh, absolutely. A few.
Got to do a little of that. But no people. So apparently they have so far already really converted. And as soon as they'll get someone, they're turning them undead.
Well, keep in mind, it has been many days since that island was taken, and this may not be the ship that did it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I will be sending the information I have to those of you probably via one of the gulls above our ship. I will just, or no, it'll be Cookie. I'll have Cookie stay up there with y'all, and I'll just send messages through Cookie to tell you the things I'm finding where I'm looking if y'all want to split up.
Yeah. What are you going to do? The vessel hasn't gone down. It's doing it sort of listing and sinking. What are you doing, Professor Vedro?
We're still on our own ship, the Sea Wing.
100%.
Yeah, Patrick and I were on the other ship.
Okay.
And you had kind of flown up, I believe, to fire some things, but I don't think you landed on the other ship yet.
Yeah, I didn't do much. last session. There was a lot of rolling of dice.
It's a lot of D20 betrayal.
A lot of low rolls. And we've got this, the undead giant is trying to move away from us.
Yeah. The
could be
necromancers there seem to be, maybe they're wary of what happened when you dismiss some of their magics. Maybe they were after this ship and now it's gone, so they're not doing anything. It's not clear.
Oh, right. This was where the necromancers were inside the giant. I remember.
Yeah.
Do we recover our effort?
Yeah, let's since it's a new session, let's go ahead and recover effort. I think that makes sense.
I'm going to spend effort to as I'm watching this thing move away, the undead giant ship thing, to know the flaw and to understand what its weakness and most vulnerable elements are.
One of the things that is a weakness of this is that sort of twofold. One is that this creature is the corpse of a god, so it still has a lot of that kind of energy to it, which means there are a lot of things that feed on magic and magical energies and things like that that could be attracted to that. They probably have some countermeasures to that. But the other thing is, even though it's a god, it's still a corpse, and they are holding its decay in check. And that is a vulnerability. Does that sound reasonable?
Yep.
What are you doing, Threadless?
Since I think I am going to go to the other ship to figure out how it was made and what is essentially what is novel and useful to me about it, but also if there is anything that would be a vulnerability should we hit another one of these.
Oh, absolutely. I think that with your artifice, you can tell that it is relatively seaworthy. Like it'll hold water, but it mostly gets around based on that power of the storm that lifts it up above the waves. And it's clearly been like soldered together with spark and electricity. And
that's useful to know that one can do that in that way.
Yeah, it's certainly a technique you haven't seen.
So here's a question. Is there any storm or power source here that was independent of the storm giants themselves?
Now, it seems like the storm giants are kind of the focus, like the lens for that power to go through.
Okay.
In the same way that you kind of got that those creatures were connected to that force of the dark forest, these things seem to be connected in that way as well.
All right. So in fact, they had to be there to create that force beneath the ship.
Right.
And there wasn't an external source of power.
Yeah, there's no like engine or things like that.
Battery. Okay.
It does make you suspect that at least at this moment, there probably is a limit to their range.
Oh, okay. All right. It also means anything that slows or makes their progress harder also is a drag on them in more ways than one, not just slowing them, but using their energy. And the energy of the giants themselves. Okay.
Right.
That's interesting. All right. It is in anything else that's innovative, or is it really just like a big box that is made of metal and has some stuff in it?
It's much more like that. The engineering is practical but very primitive in this.
Okay.
And you can see where bits and pieces of this are scavenged from other places, from other ships and things.
All right. Sure.
Okay. Captain Ransom, anything else you want to get from this vessel or from the ocean around here or anything?
No, are there still undead attached to it?
No, they've clearly gone.
They sent either they went somewhere else or they sent them all to attack the giant.
Looks like they've sent them, like, it seems like the giant kind of passed underneath and then those undead went after it.
Gotcha. So they were snagged, or because before they were attacking it. Well then, I will try and see if I could find like their captain's cabin, if there's maps, if there's any log books, anything like that.
Interesting. I think what you will find in there is no maps. But there is a big metal, clearly newly made compass, but it's not pointing north. In fact, it's more pointing eastwards.
Interesting. I will take hold of it and bring it back.
Yeah, it probably weighs about 10 pounds.
Boink. I'll put it up my sleeve.
Absolutely. It's gone. So yeah, you can draw that into your sleeves very easily.
And I suppose that if there's no logs, they're probably being directed by something. I wasn't really figuring they had the look of great writers.
Yeah, and I think you'll look around and you realize just how bare bones this is. There's none of the usual things that you would have for the crew beyond food and sustenance. There's no entertainments. There's no sleeping places.
Doesn't look like they were eating the people, though, does it?
No.
It's turning them into undead. I guess
Right.
that's worse.
But there are no trophies of the cloud giants that they pulled down.
No, not here.
Interesting.
But this is just one outlying ship of the set of, you're guessing there are more of them.
And this thing was huge. All right, I will get back to the deck, and having told you everything I've found and about the compass, which I think Professor, you probably should study some when we get back. I say we
You mean
sink
we aren't
it.
going to just follow it?
Well, I'm not sure. Perhaps, but it might be good to know more about it first.
We could easily triangulate.
That's true. I'm wondering if it's home or if it's target. That's my personal wonder, but we should sink this thing. Are we in agreement?
It is already sinking.
Okay.
You were probably going into the flooded compartments below as it was taking on water and moving through there.
And
I think the other thing I'll give you, Captain, is as you've seen this thing move, is you can outpace this.
that's good.
Like you've seen how it moves. You've seen with the storm. You're guessing it was coming at pretty full tilt this way, and you had a pretty good gauge on that speed, and you're pretty sure you could outmaneuver and outrun one of these ships.
Did I notice what sort of weapons did it have on deck?
You just found those like stones and metal cannonballs and things like that. Remember they hypercharged the cannonballs
And they
with
just
lightning.
threw them.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Then I'm going to head back. Is anyone here that needs help back?
No, I think you and Atassos has probably already returned. You probably just kind of bloop, and then you don't know where he is.
Okay, then whoop, I will
Right.
head back.
Professor, anything else you want to do here?
I don't think so.
Okay. And what about you there, Threadless?
Probably would go back with one of the other two, wherever they go. So,
And anything you want to do?
no, I probably do one check on the metal, and like, you know how I sent those crossbow bolts over, and then with the weight, this metal weights to sort of ground everything. I do check to see if I can improve my bolts to get through that metal and better holding power, and maybe add some new tricks for the next few times that we do it.
Okay. Kind of gather those up to take them, have them dragged back. You get them unattached there. As you're doing that, and imagine that the big, Titanic ship is sort of going down. You're probably on the top of it, like pulling the things off. And as you're doing that, you look down, and at first you think it must be one of those zombies. But it moves more deliberately in the water and is kind of circling around this vessel. It's definitely a humanoid shape in the water.
Like Ember Pearl's person?
Maybe.
I hail it.
How do you hail it?
I don't know. I suppose I start by calling out to it. And then if not, I will go over and
You have to hop down to get close to it.
Will.
Okay.
I'll probably call out to the captain though.
Okay. Let's have you make a charisma roll here.
A charisma roll? Oh goodness. Have I got any? Let's see here.
I assume you do have some.
I do. I have a check of 8. So that
Okay.
means
that means you want to roll over an 8.
Oh goodness. And it's a D20. So it, maybe not.
Maybe not.
I'm going to try not to take it personally. Okay, so I'm rolling 1d20. I rolled a 16.
16. So you will see this pale face kind of come up underneath the water. There's like a kind of a gossamer veil on it that almost looks like maybe a jellyfish shawl. And it kind of looks up at you out of there, and it says something in a language that you don't understand at all.
And let's see here. She sort of stops, like she makes like a gesture like this. And I think she'll call the professor and the captain, because A, sea creature, and B, languages. That's my only hope.
I will fly down.
Okay. Are you taking the professor over as well, Captain?
You could fly. I thought you were flying, Dan. Are you flying?
I used a miracle to do that.
Oh, then yes, I will. Well, I will come over, and you're not a very heavy person, are you?
No. I mean, I weigh a lot because of all the knowledge I carry with me.
Right.
Ah, yes. Wisdom is light as a feather, though. But
is this person floating around the sinking ship?
Yeah.
And can I just not come to the rail of our ship to see them?
Yeah, you're probably a little ways away.
Oh, we're far away. Okay.
Yeah. Just because you want to steer clear when this thing finally goes under the water.
Yeah, because there'll be a big old straw.
Okay.
Then, yeah, I just kind of wrap my arms, and a little like Leo and Kate there on the Titanic. It's we're both facing the same way, and I fly you over.
I'm definitely backseat driving.
Okay. So Captain, Professor, you and Threadless can get like down. The ship is sinking relatively slowly, so you can kind of get on a position there. Plus, you have pretty good control of the waves in the ocean and can probably slow that. And there is this figure that is underneath the water, and now that it kind of moves a little ways away from that, you can see what it looks like. There's a picture of it in the NPC tab. D153.
Whoa.
Huh. Interesting.
And she doesn't look like a merfolk exactly. Like she's not, like she definitely has a fully humanoid shape under that water. But she's definitely like, she's speaking and clearly like expecting that you'll understand what she has to say.
Okay. Um, I will speak I will, reaching down to, I guess I'll commit effort. It's probably best to just go ahead and do that. I'm
Okay.
going to commit effort on Lord of the Waters.
Mhm.
I'll get it back.
And what does that do?
Natural. It lets me be able to communicate with any natural all natural sea life.
So don't spend the effort, because I
Okay.
think you'll reach out. You have a sense of that. That's clearly not what she is.
Is that what her hat allows her to do, is move underwater maybe, or breathe underwater?
You're not sure.
Okay. Then
And she's trying to talk to us.
Yeah, and she clearly assumes that you can understand what she's saying, and she can see she's getting a little more frustrated now.
And is she completely silent?
No, you can hear her. I mean, she's saying words, but it's not a language you recognize.
Oh. I'm sorry, we don't understand you. And I look over to the professor. Is there any? I mean, you know every language. You don't know this?
This one is especially obscure. It may only be spoken by one or two people. Can I make an intelligence check to see if I know this?
Absolutely. Let's have you make that.
I'm so excited to roll a die.
Absolutely. You just need to roll 3 or better.
Yeah, that feels good. Start me off with some training wheels. I rolled a 12.
12. So I think you kind of listen. It's a little bit hard to hear because of the water and stuff. And after a second of kind of parsing it out, you will realize that she's actually speaking in the language of the Empire of Ghosts, the language of those people from the undead god.
oh,
Do you have a background such that you would be familiar with
God.
this language, or with the ability to some sort of linguistic knowledge, maybe?
Hang on. Nope. I mean, I run a school, and I feel like maybe is it feasible that as part of that I ran the linguistics department until we could find the preeminent linguist?
Let's have you make with a +4 bonus a charisma roll.
Oh, that's not good. All right. Turns out he doesn't have a very high charisma. Oh, but I rolled a 19.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like you know the the basics, the phrases. Now that you've had a chance to hear, like you can hold basic communication, and of course you're a god of knowledge, and so
Right.
the more that you talk and interact, the more that you'll start parsing out the rest of the language. That's just the way you operate, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
I also feel like I'm in my element here. Like I'm trying to impress someone with my knowledge. So.
And
I'm
she's
impressed.
she is essentially saying, what is going on? Where are we? What is all of this? I don't understand. They freed me. Someone freed me. Something freed me. I was freed. Where is this?
Where do you think you are? Where did you come from?
From Ladang, which you'll recognize as a place in the Empire of Ghosts, like an ancient name.
Well, you were a long way from the Empire of Ghosts. Who freed you?
I do not know. I was bound to the vessel to clean the vessel, the outside of it. And something happened, and I was freed from that. Some of the magics went away.
Are you a cleaner? You are someone who cleans vessels, or were you pressed into the service?
I was pressed into this service. I'm a princess.
Fascinating. Would you are you meant to live in the water, or would you like to come up and join us on our ship?
Well, I was a little nervous about all of you. That's why I'm in the water.
I would be nervous about us too.
I'll elbow Threadless. See, I knew he would pick this up.
She nods.
And
very
you will
good at these
see
things.
her rise up out of the water. The jellyfish thing will kind of like fall down to her shoulders and then kind of run along. And you realize that you can see through her.
Like,
she's semi-translucent.
Sure.
And she will float over to where all of you are.
As she comes, I look at Threadless. Is she a ghost?
Well, I suppose I know enough with fertility and stuff. I can tell what's live and what isn't.
Oh yeah, no, she's a ghost.
She's a ghost.
Ghost?
I say what? I ask her what her name is. What should we call you?
Oh, that is a good question, and one I should have had an answer to, shouldn't it?
Jellyfish thing already.
Yes. Tanuja.
Tanuja is a great name.
And she was attached to the Storm Giant ship. She wasn't attached to the big statue ship.
No, she was attached to the big statue ship.
Oh, that's different. I got you.
Okay. That makes more sense.
I am now, Everdro is 100% invested in learning everything there is to know about this person. If Threadless or Ransom want to talk to her, too bad. I'm monopolizing the conversation.
And she'll float along with you. She doesn't move particularly fast, but she does float as you all go back over to your ship if you take her there, Ransom.
Professor, is this safe? Is she friendly? You know, Threadless says she's not alive.
I don't even know what you're talking about. This is just an incredible opportunity for us to learn about the people of the Empire of Ghosts. Friendly. What does that even matter to us? What does friendly really mean? Do you think I'm friendly?
Just ask her what she needs to eat so we can make sure that we have provisions.
Tanuja, I'm so sorry to bother you with these trivialities, but it is important, apparently, to my friends, my colleagues, if to know what exactly you eat and whether you need any accommodation aboard our vessel. And I do hope you'll spend some time with us.
I have no idea how to get home, and I hope that one of such wisdom as you have, clearly, you are clearly a intelligent and well-versed person.
You're not wrong.
Who recognizes a nobility and
Yes.
has nobility of their own. Will
Well,
find a way for me to return home. I was sustained by their magics. They did that to, as they do. And like, she's clearly like alluding to something that maybe she thinks you know about, but she kind
Right.
of skips past that.
Right.
Without that, if I am to stay and be able to speak with you and stay as I am, to be here, I will need just a drop of blood as the sun sets.
Just the one drop of blood.
One drop of blood is enough to sustain me without my becoming maddened.
Okay. Ransom, is there anyone that you don't like on your crew? Is there anyone who would be we could cut on occasion? Just just a little pinprick of blood.
Blood. You're saying that her food requirements is blood?
Well, she didn't use the word blood, but I can
No.
tell that's what she meant.
Red, let's.
How much blood?
She says a drop.
Oh, well then
And I
why aren't
think-
you giving it to her?
I think I got the units right. I think a drop is an actual drop.
Well, then I would say you are the member of the crew who probably should provide.
You know us. We're different. I worry that our blood might have some unforeseen side effects. You have to admit it's not without merit.
I will ask for volunteers.
And I think when you say that, sort of like steps out from behind your shoulder, you kind of didn't realize she was there. And you will see Tonsakar steps forward, draws a dagger, and stabs her finger.
Oh.
I put my hand on her shoulder. I knew I could count on you.
And she will put a drop like on a piece of glass or something that she has and hand it over, and you will see Tanuja like takes it and then like turns away from you. It clearly,
But we can see through her. So
yes,
we-
but she kind of doesn't really clearly realize that.
Right.
But you see her kind of lick at it, perhaps a little greedily, but then turn back and straighten herself out and hand the little piece back. Thank you.
Sure.
I'm sorry I cannot speak the barbaric tongue of your friends.
I'm sorry I even know that tongue.
It is no shame. There's no shame in knowledge.
I cannot help where I was born. but I find your language beautiful and haunting. And I am so glad that I have the opportunity to learn it. Please correct me if I get anything wrong.
Oh, I will.
Just, you said that very quickly.
Because it's true.
Oh, I think you and I are going to get along very well.
Petra's got a girlfriend. Petra's got a girlfriend.
She's a ghost. It's fine. It eats blood.
Ghoul friend.
Captain, what do you want to do? Do you want to set sail back for the library? Do you want to follow this compass?
I will, if I could tear the professor away, we should look at this compass. I think we also need to check in that perhaps the ship we sent previous ahead of us made it into port. Is the compass pointing straight east or
It's relatively east.
relatively east?
Yeah.
So-
We could go a little bit in like perpendicular direction and get another take on it, and probably be able to triangulate on the map approximately where it is.
I
Just need 2 points in the lines.
could, I mean, that would be fun.
Okay.
I could just, what is it called? I have something that lets me ask a question, so I could just simply ask, what is this compass pointing at?
Oh, that's awesome.
And
Cross me off.
and it is pointing to the corrupted storm's palace on the coast of Dasketeer, below the broken mountain of the cloud giants.
Whoa.
All right, I would not like to sail directly there.
Yeah, I think. Do we want to head back to our port first? And
Yeah, we have ghosts there to take care of.
yeah, so yeah, I think we'll set sail back to home.
Okay.
We wanted to do a scouting trip. We did that. We encountered the enemy and gave him a bit of a bloody nose. Don't want us sailing blind.
You will see with your hawk vision, Ransom, the vessel of the Empire of Ghosts paces you for a little while, but then turns and breaks to head northwards.
I mean, we're okay because we're heading northwest. Yeah.
It breaks in a slightly different direction. It's clearly not heading where you're going, and it's clearly your paths are going to break off from one another.
Heading up towards Luncena, honestly.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I'll let everybody know that we've been paced, but it seems to be heading off to a port. One could guess if we're going to be encountering the Empire of the Ghosts, then we'll have to get used to them. But for now, home.
And you will turn the vessel, you'll catch the favorable winds, the currents are with you, and you will cut across the waves as is your wont. And I think once again, you make inordinately good time. Yes, Sherry.
And once again, I make the repairs for what, damage the ship took, and the mat, essentially the sails get a little bit more woven through with her red threads. And the ship itself, there's a different lumber where she's done it, and it has its sort of gold edge to each board that goes on.
Don't make me have to commit more to you're gonna make my whole temple disappear. And I'll have to rebuild
Temple of
it
Theseus.
again.
And I think you will arrive back at the port like maybe a day after the other vessel has, even though you left them several days ago. But your speed is just so extraordinary compared to their vessel. And you will arrive back, and their captain is there. And certainly when you arrive back, Hosk will kind of be waiting for you to give you all a report. And he will say, as you disembark, he will say, the ship that you sent on arrived safely.
Very good.
They had some people who were sick but recovered, but they've taken them up to the library. One of Tassos's wards came and took them. There was some discussion on that because they were apparently better than they had been, but
That's good to hear. And my guess is I look around and Tassos is probably already dipped and gone.
oh yeah.
I
I say, but I have put them up, those who wanted to stay in town, in lodgings, and those who wanted to see the library, including the captain, have been sent on. I hope that was fair.
that was excellent. Thank you. Very well done. We will try and provide to make sure their ship's ready for when they plan to depart, and I'll speak with their captain shortly.
Absolutely. They seemed shocked at our hospitality.
We're a friendly port to all.
So when you get back here, Threadless, after this trip, what are you doing? You are muted.
We've learned a lot. We know that there's lots more of these ships. We know that we know where we're going to be heading when we go to take care of the storm evil. So I need to be making preparations for that. But I also know that we're coming back to a set of thefts, correct? The souls of the essentially imprisoned god killers. Wasn't that who they were, like the generals and stuff who?
Yeah, there have been apparently some thefts down in the lower
Yeah.
portions of the school.
So yeah, I'm going to find, because someone came to tell us that, and I'm essentially going to go and figure out what's going on there. That was the thing, is we said that we would take care of that as soon as we got done with the giants. So I'm as good as my word.
Okay. And I believe that it was Tintefa who had originally brought the news. He will be a little surprised that all of you are back so soon. He sits up straight, like kind of like clearly has been enjoying himself in his position of authority, and suddenly you're all back. He's kind of straightens up his things, moves the chair back into place. Was your journey successful? It seems rather quick.
We took out one ship full of storm giants. We know where their headquarters are. There's more ships, but we figured we should come back and take care of the the grave robbing that's going on. Soul robbing, whatever it is. You should explain it to me.
I says, well, here's what I understand from speaking with those who have a little more sense of these things. There are a number of crypts that have potent generals of old power that were here and kind of imprisoned / buried.
Yes.
There are still a number down there, but something has been taking the spirits that have been vanishing from a number of these.
So we need to find out what's going on. So, Tantifa, who is it who brought this to your attention? And who might I consider an expert in what is going on?
Well, that is the professor of souls that Evedro hired.
Hmm.
What is his name, Sherry, or her name?
Oh, gosh. I think it's like August Descending.
Okay. Pronouns he, him?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me, Professor Evedro, where did you find this professor of souls?
I knew him from the old university that I worked at, but he was a bit of a hedonist and was constantly missing class and getting drunk and not showing up, and he was kicked out of the school around the same time that I was, or that I had been kicked out. And I
For
found
very
him.
different reasons.
Sure. I mean, it all amounts to the same thing. But I found him in East Lunsena at a pub, sort of lost in a pint of beer.
That seems fair. Let me find a good picture for him.
And he may just be sick, but it seems like he can talk to lost souls.
That's what he says.
Right. He will walk down the street and talk to the lost souls and or himself.
There is a picture of him in the NPC tab now. He is a short, fairly stout fellow who has cultivated a pronounced beard.
Yes.
And
he will record things that he hears the soul say on small slips of paper and stick it in the beard.
Looks around. He will be pleasantly surprised and only slightly drunk when you visit him threadless. Hello.
Professor Descending.
Please call me August.
August. Or Professor August, I'm not for sure. Anyway.
Yes.
I understand that there are some thefts of souls occurring in some of the crypts of the library.
They are vanishing.
They are vanishing.
One suspects there is an intelligence at play, which does suggest thefts.
Yes.
So that is a conclusion that I have drawn. I just want you to know that it's not a proven statement, but it's a conclusion I have drawn.
I am willing to take that as a workable theory of what is going on. Could you give me a tour of that situation and show me what you have seen or heard?
Certainly. Oh, now. Okay. Yes. I think we'll cut from there. Captain Ransom, what do you want to do when you return back here?
I'm going to go ahead and circulate amongst the town people and the captains that are in port and begin letting them know this threat that's out there. I I will kind of tour through to, make sure what defenses may need to be there to defend the port, and kind of talking up the people and letting them know that, with that force out there, this may be somewhere people run to.
What is the mood you want to inspire? Because you're talking about a fairly terrifying force. Are you making it clear just how dangerous they are to like get them to react that way? Or are you downplaying it? Like what do you think your approach is going to be here?
Honestly, I'm trying to send out the vibe that this is the place that great waves will break upon. This is a Gibraltar. So if there is danger, you can come here, and that we will be able to fight it off. It's partially to make us, to up our cred as being this point of power. And it's also to make sure the people getting ready to fight know that they're, this is the place where this is a hard point that will be safe.
Let us have you make a roll with charisma.
With charisma. All right.
Do you have a particular background that you think is applicable to this?
I was looking at my stuff, one of my facts. Kind-hearted and merciful. Does that feel like it fits in here? I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
It's headlong into battle, but that's really much more of a kind of personal thing. I don't know if
you may want to think about giving yourself a kind of a captain or leadership fact the next time.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Oh, well. So rolling with charisma. Ooh, come on, baby, roll well.
Just a D20.
That's not bad.
No invocation will ever soften the heart of a D20.
Let's see. With my mod, it's a 17.
17. Well, actually, what you do is you don't add the mod. You just make sure that you're rolling above that check number.
Then I've got a 16 over an 8.
Oh yeah. So yeah, you will get people talking about this. Some people have seen the defenses there. They've been walked through. They can tell that the tides have changed, which is unusual. They know that, and they're taking this seriously. One of the things that will happen after you kind of get everybody like on board with that is that Captain Darahai.
Ooh, my friend from the tavern.
Yeah, he's from Kajafir. He's the one who brings you your coffee.
Yes.
He will say, "Might I have a word in private, Captain Ransom?"
Absolutely. What can I do for you?
He'll say, "I had the opportunity to stop at a couple of ports in Gesnia, and there are people asking questions and paying good coin, trying to get news and information about what's going on here on the island." I asked back, and these are clearly agents of the Gesnian royal house. They've heard rumors, and they're trying to figure out exactly what's going on.
Thank you for letting me know. It is our intent to speak with the royal house soon, but it is much appreciated that you'd let me know. They're already very interested.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's certainly, I mean, you've made some waves.
Thank you, Captain. I hope you found good portage here.
Yes, absolutely, as always.
And then we'll spread the word that that we are an open port.
Even to official vessels from the Gesnian Navy.
If you can pick up a few coins with your information, yes, it is perfectly fine to let them know that this is a free and open port.
What I mean is, are you going to let the Gesnian Navy come in if they ask to come in? You don't need to answer me on that. I've just put that bug in your ear. Professor Evedro, what are you up to when you come back?
I'm still on vacation. Technically,
Yes.
we got here a day early.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
my vacation is not over. So people keep trying to.
Oh, but you're back. We were going to have a schedule. We were going to reschedule a meeting.
I'm still on
from
vacation.
Tomorrow. We could have it today early.
I am not. And then it's the weekend. So technically, I have 3 more days.
But it's just there's some paperwork. It's just.
I will see you on Monday. I'm sure the school will stay standing between now and then. And I am doing everything in my power to impress the lovely Tanuja.
All right.
And in trying to encourage her to stay and take a teaching post at the school, maybe as like a guest lecturer to in either linguistics to teach us the language of the Empire of Ghosts, or to teach the history of the Empire of Ghosts. But I'm like showing her a good time in the town.
Well, so I think getting her to stay is not a problem because, well, she's talking a good game. She has no idea how to get home. Like she's completely out of her element. She she doesn't let on, but she's clearly at a complete loss.
Right.
And she's the one thing, and she will like be interested in like staying around here. You will notice that she does like in the moving around. You do have some graveyards and crypts and things that are on in the library, and you do notice that she kind of like she's curious about those, like, and she kind of says, "Do you have recent graveyards?"
We when you say recent graveyards, you mean places where people have been recently interred?
Yes.
Sure. We have a graveyard kind of on the campus, and then there's a graveyard on the outskirts of town used by the folk there. What is it about graveyards that you find so intriguing?
There's a background noise here that isn't present where I'm from. Where I come from, you don't hear the screams of the dead in the background all the time.
Is everybody dead where you are?
No.
They're just ghosts.
Well, they're how do I put this? They're manifested and protected.
Okay. I understand.
From hell.
Oh.
Do you understand? Do you know what I'm saying?
I think so. I think it means you are somehow prevented from going to hell.
Well, yes, but but the Empire prevents the souls from being stuck in purgatory because of what's happened to hell.
Fantastic. Okay. All right. I think I follow. And so the souls of the folks that you hear, the dead here.
Yes, and no one is manifesting them, and so they are trapped in the in-between because heaven is destroyed and the gates of hell are closed.
Sherry, I would only ask that on a second date. Well, that's very intriguing. Do you find the screams disturbing?
They are a little off-putting,
Hmm.
but I find that I can shut them off from my hearing if I concentrate.
Hmm. Yeah, I do that when the students complain at the school.
It is a talent one has to accrue.
Yeah, look, only the best and the brightest can really multitask like that.
Very much so.
Let's change the subject.
Let us.
Would you like to take a tour of the town?
Yes, I would be very curious.
And I would like to show her around to
Okay.
my favorite spots. And it turns out I don't have any because I spend all the time at the school. So
Let's have you make a charisma check. Let's see how impressive you are here.
oh my gosh.
Do you have any facts that you think would be useful for impressing this ghost royalty?
Not even remotely. No, because the only thing is I run a school and I feel like I've tapped.
Yes.
All right. I'm just right. All right. I have to roll better than 11. And I did not.
So it's as much as anything as
Wait a minute. This is the closest we've had to a Venro having anything like romance, okay? And even
Or
though
friendship.
It's or friendship.
Yes.
So I would like to grant him a reroll.
Okay.
You would spend your reroll on
Well,
my.
Let me roll and see, because I didn't roll mine. So let me
Roll your
that.
magic die.
Yeah, and see if that's better. It's an 8, so it's not. I can make something probably fail, unless an 8 would do it for you.
Yeah.
Thinking
I
not,
hate it.
though.
More than 11.
You need 11.
My
Yeah,
charisma is
but-
terrible.
but I will spend a point. You can do a reroll.
Wow. I think I rolled an 11.
Perfect. There you go. So she is quite impressed with you, as much as because people obey you. When you tell people to do things that they jump to, when you give them orders, they jump to, and you can tell that very much impresses her.
Right. And they only do that because they don't want to have to talk to me.
Exactly. But
Right.
that doesn't matter to her.
No.
The motivation doesn't matter. The end result is clearly what impresses her.
I love his character. All right.
She says, "Oh, you have such a commanding presence."
Well, they don't let just anybody run a school. You have to know a lot of things, and you have to be very decisive. And besides me and my colleagues, there's not very many decisive people here. I also have a vision. I have a vision for education, and I've toured many schools and universities, and none of them really can live up to that vision. And this is really our opportunity to create just a haven of learning.
A wonderful place where you can teach people and you can tell people what to do and they do it.
Yeah, that feels like sort of what I was saying. Yeah,
I like that very much.
Mm.
Yes, I would very much like to stay here, and I would be glad to teach people a more civilized language than the guttural one that they speak.
That sounds great.
I will endeavor to pick up this language so that I can communicate as best I can with them.
I've found that the students really appreciate it when the teachers and the educators and the instructors meet them at their level too. So,
Well, yeah, we can do that.
will you not be missed back in your home?
I am certain that there are people who will miss me.
I see, and that does not concern you.
Ghost courts are not as recognized as real world temporal courts. They're given some respect and some honors given to that. But my court, the greater family of my court, was involved in some plotting, which is how I and my sisters and brothers ended up as barnacle scrapers on an undead god.
Indentured servants.
Yes.
Great tragedy.
Yes,
Great
it is.
tragedy.
It is. But now we have a better story since I am free, and that's the most important thing.
Excellent. I'm so pleased.
As am I. Let's take our first break here. Let's take 10, and then we will come back, okay? So let's bring the three of you together to talk. So you can talk about next plans or what you need to follow up on or what you want to do. So we imagine you back in your rooms, the sort of meeting room with the maps on the walls and the beautiful tables. It has been carefully cleaned while you've been gone, and it looks nice. And they've clearly been working to match, what you need. The servants bring you Vedro, usually, or Debbie, whoever is there. They have the program of what they're supposed to bring him at what time. So you get your tisane, and you get your other beverages at exactly the right time and the right temperature and that kind of thing.
Who's calling the meeting and what time, I suppose?
That's that, Captain. I always assume that it is you that is calling a meeting.
So I think I tend to like to catch, or Debbie, probably. So I'm thinking late afternoon, maybe for a dinner meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sounds great.
As as we get in and having our bits, and or Debbie, is your friend settling in well?
Well, I would not call her my friend. My brother seems to have taken a special liking to her, and I honestly don't see what he sees in her. She's creepy, and she drinks blood, and she can hear the screams of the dead. That seems like exactly the kind of person I would not want to hang out with. But
The screams of the dead.
yeah, apparently when she's near a graveyard, she can hear the screams of the dead because they haven't made it to hell or heaven or whatever. And apparently there's something wrong with hell.
Well, that's sort of the point of it, right?
Yeah, you'd think that would be exactly, it's working as designed, but apparently not. And I'm worried for him, but
What is the problem with hell?
I don't know. He hasn't asked her yet.
Oh, but she said that the gates were closed, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Look, the less I have to talk to her, the better.
Has she talked about her homeland?
She seems very reticent to open up.
Are they all dead there?
That I think Evedra would have a better understanding of it, but I just have more questions. But I think yes, they are essentially all ghosts.
Well, how unpleasant.
Wait. But the guys that we saw on the ship were ghosts.
Oh, they were
Correct.
necromancers.
Yes, which suggested there's various types of undead.
Yes. Hmm. Well, I suppose we're going to have to steel ourselves to encountering them more if they're traveling into our waters. But for now, we have this compass. It is apparently pointing towards one of our major forces that we are to try and deal with. We also have the fleet out there, and one guesses that the fleet is heading that way. If your compasses are pointed there, or it's a way to always find back to where they are empowered, strengthened. So the question is, find the armada, or go to where the compass points. Any thoughts, Threadless?
Well, the armada we could take care of in different ways if we, for instance, laid traps for it as they approach that place. But we probably need to understand a little bit more of the effect of this storm, evil storm elemental force, before we attempt to approach. The ship did us some damage, and this would be far more powerful than one of those ships. So I think a little bit of exploratory stuff is in order. However, we do have something that is going on right here that we might want to take care of.
Oh, did you hear about the local royal family looking into us?
No, that's the
Oh.
local royal family.
Oh, yes, they've taken quite an interest in us. I imagine we'll be getting tax collectors, then threatening letters, and eventually an army or navy if we're
Oh,
not
you're
careful.
talking about the Continental Kings. We'll just kill them. I have nothing with that. What I'm talking about is the crypts down below. Something is walking off with the souls of, powerful God-killing generals.
That may tie in a little bit to our visitors from the dead empire.
I don't think so. That would probably be more like the Empire of Masks, where they killed their gods and turned them into masks so they could have the powers for themselves.
So you think they're taking great heroes that they could
Well, I'm not
potentially
saying
do
it
similar?
was them. I'm saying it's more like that.
Hmm.
I mean, a lot of the nations did that, didn't they? Once the powerful sorcerers figured out how to kill the gods, they went about harvesting all the power they could. Remember, those were the ruins that we walked through?
Yes. Well, do we think that
You almost got harvested yourself, didn't you, or Debbie?
That sounds like something that might have happened to me.
Yes, that's what I recall in the retelling.
Is there a way for us to strengthen or defend these spirits better?
That's what I'm working on right now. But I just wanted to give you a heads up that was going on, and suggest that if there's someone doing that right under our nose, they deserve a good kicking.
Threadless, you said that your conversation with Professor August suggested that these souls were being stolen.
They're going missing, and at the very least, they are being freed. But since they seem to have completely vamoosed, and it's happening one after the other, it suggests that there is intervention that is causing that to happen, rather than some sort of natural decay of the power of the seal of the crypts.
Is it feasible to build a trap to catch the people who are releasing the souls?
course, if we understand the nature of the, let us say, entity or entities that are doing that.
And August had no theories or hypotheses as to who might be doing this.
I wouldn't say that he felt comfortable in stating what it might be, but certainly we have other experts on the campus and in the library that we might consult with. And we could certainly do some experiments to see what we could figure out.
Have we looked at the tombs? Has anyone looked at the tombs?
I've only
That-
looked a little. Do you want to go? Come on, I've got some bikes.
Yes. Or Debbie?
Let's go. If Vedra never lets me ride one of these bikes.
Awesome. Yes.
Cue the montage of all of you riding down like an 80s BMX movie. You will find yourself in another section of the building of the library. Now, again, this place is made up of different pieces that were dragged together from different buildings. And this definitely feels like it's this set of crypts down here, like its own kind of distinct place. And you will find that there are sort of stone tombs, big, like much bigger than they ought to be, kind of mausoleums that are sort of half set back into the wall. So the front half of the mausoleum kind of comes out of the wall. And August will tell you. So he's, because he's know that Devi or Vedra is going to be there, he is sobered up before he's come down here. He says, so we were able to translate some of these things. Each of these generals is a figure of great wrath, a figure of great power. There's some mention of weapons and of malice, and so on. The interesting thing is that the walls of the mausoleum and then back into sort of the wall that it's connected into is they sealed up people in there. I'm guessing alive, but it's hard to say. And I suspect those acted as some kind of spiritual barrier or sacrifice even for the spirit of the general.
Charming.
That is awful. So have any of them spoken to you?
You mean the generals who remain?
The sacrifices or
No,
any
they
of
are
them?
also gone.
Maybe that's how they get the general spirit then.
It may well be. I'm more of a theoretical soulologist than I am a practical soulologist.
Oh, we can change that. Don't worry.
Okay. I'm just telling you that applied soulology is a little out of my courtyard.
Okay. We'll work with the theoretical to start with. So,
But I can take you down to the of the 101 generals that are down here. We still have I'd say 30 or 40 left.
wow.
That's significant.
What would someone do with these souls, in theory?
Well, it's well known that souls were a useful energy source for a number of divine engines and weapons. that's one possibility. And certainly a soul that had quite a bit of power and malice might be more potent. On the other hand, a necromancer might make use of them to do things. Certainly, that's a possibility. Those would be my two initial theories. Now, we haven't broken into any of the mausoleums where the souls are missing. I didn't want to disturb anything. Just telling you that.
So could you identify if somebody was using that power? Like if there was, let's say, some device here that used that power of those souls, would you be able to tell that?
If you showed me a device,
Mhm.
I could tell you if you would need souls to power it, probably.
I just wondered because there's many parts of the library that have functions that it's unclear how they're powered. And
Interesting.
she sort of looks up and says, for instance, the dimensionality of the library itself, which would require a certain amount of divinity or some other non-mundane power.
I could start looking around and see if I see anything.
That isn't the worst idea. I wouldn't mind. If we look to see like where, do you have any sense of the direction in which the disappearance is happening? Like, is it starting from one end of the hall or is it?
No, it
random?
seems to have been scattered throughout.
Okay, that is less likely to be than an internal machine or machines.
What if they're doing it by how much power each soul has?
That would make sense.
They're harvesting the most powerful or the least powerful.
Certainly.
August would say certainly that's a possibility. As I couldn't particularly say like what the pattern is for these thefts, why and how someone has stolen them. It's not something that I could judge. It's not my area of expertise.
But we can change that. And she slaps him on the
right.
back again.
Not certainly entirely what that'll entail, but all right.
I think once you figure this out, that will be an expertise, right? So let's go through the mausoleum. We'll mark which ones have gone missing and their names and look that up.
Ransom, what are you doing while we're going through here?
I mean, I'm really following and finding out this information. Magic stuff isn't exactly my forte, but as we're hearing all of this, it seems to me that we need to put in protections to stop this raiding in as immediate a way as we can, and then find out more from there. Why don't we? You're muted, Sherry, if you're talking. Oh, why don't we make this place a little harder to rob, and then we can find out more.
How would you do that?
So you're assuming that it's a physical manifestation?
Not entirely, but I think at the very least we can put into place a few things and maybe make it harder and at least discover how it's happening. I fear that if there is a mere suction from great distance, I don't know how best to handle that.
Well,
but I could, yeah.
Let me put it in your lap, Ransom, since you are the god of theft.
Mm-hmm. I am intending to expend some effort.
Okay.
Is it effort?
Are you doing a
Influence.
miracle to influence? Okay.
Influence. I'm going to sink one influence into trying to make this a, less easy to. Basically, I'm going to try and trap it.
Okay.
Because that's what I'm good at.
It's not what you're good at.
No, I'm good at getting through those.
You're good at getting through them. You're not good at traps. You are good at getting past traps. But I think you can
I'm
probably.
good at traps if I know what I'm trapping.
We could add in together to make it harder.
Certainly. All right.
What about you, or Devi? What are you doing as they're kind of gathering their influence?
I think I want to try and map out the place.
Okay.
Which maybe has not been done or has not been done in a while, and then kind of mark off which ones have been removed so I can see, kind of suss out if there's any kind of pattern there.
Let's have you make an intelligence roll.
That I do not mind doing. I just got it. 5.
5. You kind of are reading through the texts, reading through the things, and one of the things that August kind of skipped over, kind of mentioned in passing, and skipped over was that mention of weapons. He said that about the things, and then you kind of stop and you kind of go back and you read, and August has translated a lot of words as weapons, just because this is not his forte. He's using probably some translators and people helping him out, when in fact it's actually more granular than that. And the wording is not exactly weapon. It's like some of them say sword, spear, staff, a halberd, that kind of thing. And you realize that all of the swords have been taken. And then it looks like they've moved on to all of the halberds. And they seem to be kind of going weapon by weapon. And they're working through the spears right now. You are muted.
I am muted. I approach Ransom and Threadless, and I explain this to them, and then I say, I have a new theory.
Yeah.
And hear me out. That they're not gathering souls for energy or power, but they're building an army.
So these souls are being recruited.
Yeah.
Or are they just taking the weapons?
I don't know. It seems very tied to the weapons.
At least we can narrow down what they'll hit next then.
Let's open one of these tombs and see if there's anything in it.
As soon as Ransom suggests that, I have figure out somewhere else I need to be.
One of the ones they've already taken is my thought.
What do you mean?
Hi, buddy.
One that the souls are missing.
So you want to look in one that's already empty?
Yes,
Okay,
let's
yeah.
see if whatever their grave goods are.
I explained that even though it's empty of souls, it's not empty of other things.
Like
We'll have to
what?
be on our guard.
I don't like seeing dead things.
Oh, I understand.
Oh, should we wait until Vedra's back?
I mean, we all know the risks with that. So
You want to
just do it.
stay
I'll
back
just
a
stand
bit?
back. I'll stand back. I'll just stand back here.
All right. Well, okay.
And Ransom, I imagine that this is a little bit of a delight because there is a mechanism on this mausoleum. You know that it's got clearly some traps and some stuff to ward off grave robbers. And so tell me what that looks like. Like, what's the montage of you getting Indiana Jones style into this tomb?
Yeah, I imagine at its front entrance, there are several, things that have been ruined and written, and we'll see by hand tracing letters. As I trace this, and we hear a click. My fingers don't move. Wait, and move again as we hear another click, and it opens up, and we begin moving down the kind of central hall into it. And no, wait, and kind of tap with my toe, then pull out a coin from a purse I have there and throw it down, and it tink tink tink. About 3 down, we get as arrows come flying across, and then we'll have, as we pass that, the one last skip over of the pressure plate that would have dropped the ceiling on us. And then I look at the red list with kind of that was cool, huh? Yeah.
You'll come into a central chamber. You can see that there's some sketches on the walls that maybe seem to represent our sigils, the people that have been buried on the outside of this kind of there. And there is a, sort of flat stone. And you will see that there is a set of armor that is aged. I mean, it's been kept here, locked away, but it's still, the natural forces to decay, time have gotten to it. Any kind of leather fittings or things have disintegrated, but there are pieces of metal there that are tarnished. You'll see bones in there. But you'll also see where the hands are kind of like back because somebody has clearly yoinked the blade.
Threadless, it would appear you were right.
So physical.
Probably a receptacle as well of the soul and essence of, or do you think the soul energy was simply released?
It looks like the weapon was what they were going for. I'm guessing the souls were released.
Well, that's better than it could be.
Or Devi, are you going in as well?
I am not going in.
Okay.
I'm way back there, and I'm like, what do you guys see? Is it
It's just bones, or Devi, just bones.
bones that once belonged to a person?
Well, yes, but there are grave goods still in here, but we do seem to be missing that signature weapon.
Are there any other weapons?
Nope.
No.
Actually, I think she'll stop and she'll go, can you look in here and see if there are any panels or other things? It would not be unusual for things that were supposed to be even more protected to be tied behind those.
I think if you look, there will be, some hidden treasures, nothing magical, but clearly like possessions of the general in their life that are worth a chunk of change, and you can find those and open those up.
So we're dealing with a grave robber or grave robbers?
Yeah, but they didn't take any of this stuff. They just took the weapon.
Right.
Very specific grave robbers.
So who's been here long enough to do all of this robbering? The assassins? are the most likely folks?
Sadly, we've opened the place up a great deal more than it has been in the past. There could
So
be some who've infiltrated.
So you're saying that 70 some done within the time that we've done that?
Well, do we have any idea of when it first started?
No.
Well, you may be right. It could be one of our own who's been robbing these crypts.
Or Devi, you are a god of knowledge, so I turn to you and ask if there's anything you wish to do here.
I was looking at my gifts. I mean, I could short circuit this by simply just asking the question using the unveiled truth: who took the weapon? How do y'all feel about that?
We'd still have to deal with them, and
Let's still have to deal with them at some point.
That's why we haven't got knowledge.
That's what use are you otherwise?
no, never.
I asked the question, spending a bit of effort. Who took this? Who took the sword?
And I think you'll kind of stand there and you're standing away. So you're kind of at a distance,
Yeah, I'm doing
kind
that.
of getting this impression. And certainly you'll feel the kind of shift that feels very familiar, like someone who has access to some of the gifts that Ransom has. But then along with that, there is a kind of a breeze and a smell that kind of wafts in, like someone clearly steps in, teleports in, dimension shifts in, whatever. They clearly enter into this place. And they carry with them a breeze from somewhere, and they'll be for you. You'll catch this breeze and you smell the smell of a dragon.
Dragon, a dragon. I swear I smelled a dragon.
So isn't there some big dragon that's
Yeah.
threatening everyone?
And raising undead.
Okay, so we do have to pretty much set the trap for our sidestepper. Now that we know.
Do we have a professor of dragons at our school? Let me rephrase. We have a professor of dragons at our school.
All right. In that case, tell me what the name of the professor of dragons is, Dan.
Hang on. Her name is hang on, it's coming. Her name is Professor Pele Basothios.
I love it. Tyler, tell me something about Professor Pele Basothios.
I believe that let's see. Look real quick. Yeah. She is an old former grad student for Evedro back at the big university island. Was it Chizy din Rajesh?
Well done.
I think that's very close.
And she was lured away by what she thinks is going to be very loose rules on how she can investigate and find out information.
Love that.
That sounds good. Here, we'll put a picture of her in there. So you three head up to Professor Basathios's office. You come in and she looks up and she says, I thought you were on vacation.
I am on vacation. This is what I do on my vacation.
Harass me?
I hang out with my friends. Note, I call them friends.
Yes, I know that if this were daytime, you would have a different set of terminology.
Friends. My brother can't say that. Look, we're here because it seems like it's possible that we have been experiencing some thefts from the vaults and crypts down below. Had you heard about that?
No.
Do you care about anything that happens at this school?
Yes.
All right. Well,
They changed the cook down in the commissary, and that has annoyed me to no end. I care about that.
I'll tell Evedro. Well, this could be existential. This could threaten the literal foundation of the school.
The literal foundation.
And the figurative foundation.
Fair enough.
Those thefts, it seems, are have the hint of a dragon. It seems as if a dragon has been breaking into our school and stealing weapons from the crypts below.
Please run through the whole thing for me, and she'll make you go through.
Could it be an agent of the dragon?
She waits to give the full thing. She says, yes. Dragons, if they are particularly long-lived and powerful, can create children that have human form and many gifts. And they serve at the behest of the dragon for a long time until they get older and start to grow into their draconic heritage. And usually at that point, the dragon will eat them. So yes, I suspect what you've got is a dragon sending one of its children to steal these things.
But if the child is going to be eaten at some point, why bother helping the dragon?
I don't think the child knows that it's going to be eaten. And I'm not sure it would believe it if it were told that.
I see. So this dragon child, it would take the form of a humanoid.
Yes.
Fascinating. Are you a dragon child?
No.
Look, you never know.
And if I were, I wouldn't tell you.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't come up on your background check.
I know, absolutely.
So,
I'm a professor of draconology. I probably would have put that on my CV.
What sort of gifts or powers could we expect them to have? Because we need to trap this one.
It depends on the dragon itself. Dragons are...
What are you doing?
What?
So, sorry, my dog is doing something terrible. I apologize.
What do you have in your mouth?
I thought I had hoped to mute before I went, quit that.
Sometimes we have that with Tomo. We can hear her. What do you have in your mouth? She says, there are standard dragons. Some people call them lesser dragons. These are the dragons that we see around and about in the hordes and things like that, that the mountains or whatnot, that are leftovers. There are a few greater dragons that are left, veterans of the Gods' Wars, some of them that fell from heaven, some of them that burnt their way up from hell. There are a few of those. The number varies, but they have divine gifts, and they can pass those gifts on to their children. So it depends on what dragon particularly we're talking about.
Have you heard of the dragon that is infesting Giznake?
And she turns and she looks at you and she says, I am a professor of dragonology.
I apologize. What have you heard?
Thank you. And you're like, you think to yourself, this is exactly why Avedra hired. This is Avedra's PhD student. She says, I have been trying to ascertain which of the greater dragons this is. There are 3 possibilities. There is the Dragon of Souls, who was a psychopomp and a conveyor of souls and transfer of souls. That might be a possibility.
Yes.
It could be the 9th Deep Dragon, which is rumored to be one of the last bastions of heaven before it fell, and that when things collapsed, came down. Or it might be the Dragon of Night.
Would that dragon have thief powers?
Yes, if that is what you're talking about, then it would be the Dragon of Night, the dragon of shadows and night and theft and several other purviews.
Well, I think 1st and 3rd seem very likely, but I hate to discount anyone. Thoughts?
If it is the Dragon of Souls, it may be more reasonable. It has legendarily spoken with people and made deals and so on. If it is the 9th Deep Dragon, there's no bargaining or reasoning with it. If it is the Dragon of Night, it is fickle and chaotic and destructive. And anything it says should be taken as likely to be a plot within a plot or a lie within a lie.
Thank you. That's been very helpful.
Yes, well, I'm always glad to have senior people of import, the leaders of our school, that I'm able to be helpful to them.
I know you're petitioning for more budget. I will put in a good word. Don't worry.
Thank you. I am transparent before you.
I'm sorry, Thread. Let's go ahead.
I need help building a trap for this one, for this child of a dragon.
Allow me to think on that.
I could probably also look into a new cook if that will sweeten the deal a bit.
Yes, absolutely. The old one prepared this succulent beef with ginger, and this new one is potatoes all the way. So I would like a change.
I
Or
will
Debbie
look
looks-
into that directly.
Or Debbie definitely looks embarrassed when she mentions the potatoes. Professor Basathios, I've not mentioned the most challenging part of this whole endeavor. We're going to be relying on you a lot as we try and track this down. But there's more to it, and I have not mentioned this until now. And that is this. This is probably going to be a cross-departmental endeavor, a project that you will have to work on with Professor August Ascending.
Well, he's quite a character.
I've seen the reports. I know that you two don't get along, but for the good of the school, and let's face it, to stay on Ivedra's good side, please try and work well together.
As you say, so shall it be done.
I will definitely check on that budget for you.
Good. Thank you. I will go into the stacks and to see what I can find about the Dragon of Night, pull those things together, and put my brain together with yours, Captain Ransom, Lady Threadless, and see if we can figure out a trap that will work. And she will set to it.
Excellent. And I suppose Threadless and I will begin working close together to get the tombs well and truly a spot to catch a thief.
Let us say, when we can get some of this happens over the course of the week, that if you both invest in influence, that trap is there, and we'll activate that story point at a point in the future.
Good show.
Sounds good.
Let's take 5, and then we'll continue and kind of wrap the session. Sound good? Okay. So let's do another kind of once around. We assume that project is in the works, is in passage, is set. What else do you want to work on? Let's start with Evedra or Devi. Like, what else are you doing while you're here?
I had a ridiculous idea.
That's the best kind.
Evedra thinks is the best idea, which is essentially to, I think I'm spending Dominion to establish would it be refugee center for ghosts from the Empire of Ghosts? Because I sense that.
How about just the ghosts from this island? Or the souls that are screaming?
Souls from this island. Yeah, any ghosts, really. I mean, he's clearly inspired by, in fact, he calls it the Tanuja Refugee Center. He's clearly inspired by her, and he senses, I guess his takeaway is that maybe the ghosts in the Empire of Ghosts don't necessarily have a ton of power, or at least that's what he's led to believe, or that they can be easily enslaved by necromancers. So he wants to sort of create a safe space for ghosts.
Well, one of the things is, in terms of sort of localized stuff, is that if someone is a follower of you, then you have dominion over where their soul goes.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, that's the basic thing is, if they're not your follower, really can't do that much. Though you can do some more supernatural practices too that are probably a little more limited in scale. But if you can convert followers or bring them over to your faith, then they don't have to go to heaven. They don't have to go to hell. And essentially they go to the divine realm that is your command.
I think if they end up becoming the staff of the refugee center.
Okay.
So I mean, I can't imagine if Vedro has a ton of followers, but maybe he does. But now that he's sort of become enthused about this pet project, he tries to attract followers so that he can make use of their souls to provide services at this refugee center.
So you can spend Dominion, and let's see, 1 Dominion. Let's look at the scale thing again.
I mean, it's physically located here, but I need everybody in the world to know about it.
You do.
Ransom, is that okay if I take part of this island to build a refugee center for ghosts?
I don't
How much
mind.
space do ghosts need? You could make it pretty small, really.
Head of a pin, right?
And still have plenty of space.
For ghosts.
Well,
Yeah,
it doesn't quite work like that. But with 1 Dominion, you can get essentially a ghost village.
Yes, that's what I want.
Okay.
It's like a retirement / refugee center for ghosts.
Yeah. So you will get effectively all the ghosts that are hovering in the region around the island, the souls of the dead there, drowned sailors from around there, that kind of thing.
What about the ones who are screaming?
Well,
are they trapped? They're trapped.
You will realize that, like, once you attune to this, that they're screaming everywhere.
Oh.
It only kind of diminishes when you actually bring them out of that unwilling purgatory state that they're trapped in. So you will create that silence for the souls surrounding essentially the island.
Love it.
What about you, Threadless?
So this is going to sound like I'm copying Vedro, but I was actually like literally what I was going to do was concentrate on increasing my followers. And for me, it's very easy because it's just about granting wishes and that sort of thing for fertility and for luck on things.
Sure.
And so, and that's the thing is just kind of, I have that shrine. I make sure that there are some other places that become known as other lucky places to go to ask for those things.
So here's the challenge. Let me ask you about this before you go too much further.
Okay.
So you've got the island as a space. So where else are you kind of physically expanding out to, do you think, from there? Are you trying to find other islands, or are you starting to move to have temples established for you on the mainland? Where do you want those to be at?
Well, I like the idea that because I am teaching midwives and things like, essentially, at the school, the sort of sensible things that as they go out, I give them essentially a shrine stone.
Mm-hmm.
to begin the thing. And then when they get there, I say, when you find where you will stay or go back to your home, you can set this up and I will be able to assist you and help you from afar. And
So rather than a kind of a centralized, here's where we're changing things, it's kind of a dispersed set of things that are going out. And how much
To begin
influence
with.
do you want to put out into this?
I've given a lot of influence to my friends, but I think that it makes sense to put like, see here, to put the remaining 2 that I have into it.
Okay. Is this influence or dominion?
I can put both
It's up to
or
you.
either, which
which
I don't
one?
know what
So
does what.
so influence it can be taken away, you can shift it around, things like that. Dominion is a permanent change in the world.
Oh, I think that it should be dominion. So
Okay.
I will put, how about this, is 3 dominion more effective than 2 dominion?
It goes 2 and then
Yeah.
4.
That's what I thought. I have 4 dominion left. But that would be it then for a while till I level. That's gonna be a while. So why don't we start at 2 because it is
Okay.
dispersed. That seems good.
So that's essentially about a major city's worth of people, probably up and along the coast and so on, 10 miles square, about 100,000 people.
All right, that seems reasonable.
So you have sent people out and you are spreading that faith is appearing. Independent of you, temples are starting to get spread there all along that coast that kind of runs probably from Arwenshaw probably up to Lansena, like all throughout there along the coast, temples are popping up. Faith is beginning. It is sprouting in those places and expanding. And the Assassin's Isle is a haven for ghosts. As essentially when they go there, they are rendered more peaceful. What are you up to, Ransom?
I think I'm finding a spot, the highest tower here that I can find. And from there, I'm going to be kind of going out and looking for the migratory birds that go through here and kind of introducing myself, talking to them, knowing them a bit, and just trying to get this sort of network of birds that will be covering this general area. And I'm really wanting to create this aviary that will be part of the university that will produce information in our general area. Like the birds will come in, and ideally in the end we will have people who are able to communicate all the way across there, but I'm going to have to invest in some sort of item to provide that, I believe.
I think that you can start setting this up. You go up to the tops of towers, you go up to where the birds are, you start getting that set. And I think on one of these times you're up at the very high top of one of these towers, and a shadow passes over, and you're kind of trying to follow it, and it spins, and then there's this sound as this thing lands, and it is an enormous gull. It is probably the size of a small ship. And it looks at you and it says, "Greetings, brother."
Greetings. You are?
I am the Lord of Gulls.
A pleasure to meet you.
The pleasure is mine. You have been active, beneficial, and present, and all of those things to my people and my friends, our people, we should say. That is what we should say. There we are. But there we are. So I am here because this seems like a sanctuary place, a place of safety.
You're welcome here.
Good, good. I spoke with Father Crocodile, and he has expressed that you're to be trusted.
I appreciate his endorsement, and indeed we are fellow spirits.
There are only a few of us animal lords left. Many of us have had to take on the gifts and roles of other species, other birds. I carry on for many birds that have lords no longer. But I, the gull, because I am a survivor, am still here.
Your perseverance is impressive, great lord.
I would like to grant you my gifts of benefit, of wisdom. But I will need you to prepare a proper nest that I can snooze in.
I am more than happy to do so. Together, we will find what is perfect for you to nest in.
Absolutely, absolutely. Good, 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 good. I was told that you were to be welcomed as a brother. I am glad that it is true. There will be others in time, other lords, other animals who we might call into your service.
Very good.
But for now, I will fetch myself a gullet full of fish, perch myself elsewhere, and await the new nest.
Do you prefer a cliffside, or do you want to be closer to men?
I want a good path to the ocean and the sea so that I can feast to my heart's content. I will not depopulate your area. I know, as you do, the gifts of the natural bounty, so I will not overtax you.
Then, my friend, it will be made yours.
Caca!
Indeed.
I think that's actually we're going to stop for today. Does that sound like a good kind of stopping point where we can kind of take off for next time? I would like to do a quick stars and wishes. We went a little short because I don't have Patrick, so we'll get Patrick in next time. But we got some stuff on the table. Dan, can I start with you? Stars and wishes.
Yes. Let's see. I really enjoyed. Actually, I really enjoyed this whole session very, very much. I liked the three of us interacting in the tombs a lot. That was a lot of fun. Really feel like our personalities are kind of gelling nicely. Wishes for next time. I'm really glad, Sherry, you kind of nudged us towards the tombs and the souls, because I think that is definitely an interesting storyline. So I guess my main wish is I kind of want to meet a dragon.
Okay. That sounds like a reasonable wish. Sherry?
Yeah, this was fun. There were lots of neat things to do. We got to kind of dip into our abilities and that sort of sense of kind of, I don't know, developing the pantheon, if that makes any sense. Like what things we have to mend over, where it's, kind of overlaps and works in a complementary way. So that was cool and kind of fun. And we saw a lot of neat things. I just love every time we add a new personality to the school or the island. It's always a joy. And they're like a little treasure, each of them. So I love adding them. And it's kind of fun to have that like few minutes at some point in the game where you sort of look at what it is you're doing as a god and doing the sort of looking at your gifts and choosing some godly divine-y things to do. So that was very fun. I enjoyed that. I'm really looking forward to figuring out what's going on with these tombs, and then giving the continent, the kings on the continent, the what for. So even if it's a what for diplomacy, but whatever.
And Tyler?
Huge stars for how this whole thing laid out. I thought we learned things in cool ways. I loved meeting our dragon expert. It was fantastic. Our drunken professor was marvelous as well. I thought all of us did a really good job, kind of as Dan was saying, of kind of gelling our roles and hitting that really nice. There was really good synergy with what we were doing. And I love seeing the island develop. I love seeing things grow on the island. It is fascinating to me, and perhaps is not the most traditional sort of thing you're doing, but I love us creating our home.
Mm-hmm.
Wishes, I will say, I my big wish is Patrick will feel better and be able to play with us next week. And I want to say, kind of as a wish of, I want to always make sure, I try to make sure we're always in a discussion together. If it ever feels like I'm taking lead too strongly, everybody interrupt. We're all very opinionated people. And Ransom does not see himself as like leading you so much as leading his people. And I'm looking forward to seeing the people on the continent. I'm looking
Mhm.
forward to dealing with our station. I think that'll be fun. So that's sort of a going forward. I'm really looking forward to that.
6 XP and 1 point of dominion. I am going to stop the broadcast.